10:03. Welcome, everyone. Mr. Hart's here with us today, visiting.
I'm the liaison.
The liaison from the city, right. And all are here except for Miss Owen, Miss Collins. And who else is missing? Don. Everyone else is here. And we have a quorum. Okay, we'll stand for the pledge. Flags are behind us. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. I have the minutes with your agenda. Thank you. Miss Mary did the minutes for us. Appreciate that. That is a big load off, Mary. Thank you so much. If I can just find it.
Want to call the roll here?
I did,
Or you did?
so to speak. Does it need to be that formal? Okay. I just said who was not here. I'm looking. Oh, yes, okay, we can correct that. Will it, it wouldn't, okay. Should I correct that or not? Miss Hersey did come in last meeting. She was late, but for some reason I had her absent.
Just
But
correct it on the record.
we still had a quorum.
You can just make the correction and initial sign it.
Okay. Got it fixed now. I'll sign this one as soon as we get the approval. Looking for a motion to approve the minutes.
Okay, I make the motion to approve the minutes.
Do you have a second?
Sure, I'll second it.
Okay. All in favor? Aye. Okay, thank you. Okay, old business. The Welcome Center ideas. Is that right? Wait a minute, let me make sure I'm on the right place. Yes. Well, we were going to do an update of our visit, and Ms. Nina, I think you were there and had some ideas from that, but we can have a discussion too. But just an update and a recap. Rob, we went out to the air park and looked at the old artifacts and to see what was there, what we could use, and et cetera. So that's what we want to talk about today. Ms. Nina?
Well, I mean, I think the folks from Coldwell Banker, the ones
Oh,
who-
the Beals?
The Bills, yeah.
Mhm.
Look at what they discovered, that table that they could use. And it seems like there was something else to hang on the wall that they could put in the Welcome Center.
Was it the big sign? It was the,
I don't remember now. I took some photos of stuff that we saw while we were there. Yeah, I don't know what he finally, because he had space constraints,
Mhm.
so he had some things that he had to think about or go look at to be sure. We had that big Keystone Inn light up
Yeah.
neon sign.
was the
And-
bathtub one of them too? I think, wasn't
No.
it? It wasn't?
No, the bathtub was not.
Okay.
I don't think. the hotel dining room sign. And then there's a picture, and I believe Lynn said, because Lynn was there and Mary were there, that the picture of the lake scene that's got the pavilion in the background is going to be hung in the pavilion. And I think she said there's another one like it or something. But, I mean, we were just kind of just looking at what was there, and there were some things they said we could not use. Like one of the things they wanted to, it was this huge painting. Oh yeah, it was a painting, but they said it wasn't original to the city, that they were looking at putting at somewhere at the historic place
Like
there
in Clay County Archives. area.
Right, it wasn't original to Keystone Heights.
Well, there was a lot of things there, but not a lot of things that we could use.
Right.
But,
I
the
mean-
Bills did decide to take two things.
I think they decided on the table, it was a smaller table, and something to hang up above it, but I don't remember what that was.
So no one picked up the light that we're aware of, I guess.
Picked up what?
The neon light?
No, no. The neon light needs some repair, and Dave was with us, and he knows a guy in Jacksonville that can do that.
Did, Mr. Hart, did you say that you thought that,
I just had a conversation with Linda. Apparently the Beals have that light,
Oh, they do?
and they're looking into the cost of
what it would
doing
cost?
neon again.
Yeah, and I think Dave told him that we know somebody who does, because he's repaired a lot of the ones that Dave's has.
When we
Dave's
get-
probably got 10 or 15 neon lights.
When we get to my comments, I'll mention it too.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you. It was fun. I enjoyed it, and it was a lot of work, I think, for the people that had to bring everything out and put it all back up, but
It was fun to see.
there was a lot of stuff there, yes. Well, we can always get I think, I'll ask Todd for a list of the things that they took, so we'll have that just on record, okay?
Yeah.
And I think that's a good thing to do. Mr. Beal? Okay. All right, so Miss Owen wants to do a plaque workshop, and we were gonna set a date. She's at home right now, she has water all over her kitchen, something's leaking, and the plumber is there, so whether she'll make it or not, I don't know. She just said she was tied up waiting. At 9:49, she was waiting for the plumber, so we'll have to put that, I guess, on the next agenda. We have all the work done for a plaque workshop, so it should be pretty easy to put one together, I think, too. It would just be mainly getting a time and, and maybe get Ishi back out here, she helped. And
Is Ishi still working there?
if she's there.
I don't think
I'm
she's
not
still
sure if
working
she's
there, is
still there
she?
or not. Do you know?
I think there's somebody different doing that.
We might ought to plan a trip up to the Clay County just to see who's up there now.
Yeah, I don't
I
think she's
know.
there anymore.
Okay.
So,
All
does
right.
anybody have a copy of that presentation she did?
I think I have the whole workshop.
PowerPoint that she presented?
I think I have everything.
Okay.
Didn't she stapled, I think I have it, I can verify. I think I have her work. I'll check on that to see if I have it.
I mean, because if we can't, if she's not it, and I don't know who the new person is, I think I've looked at the website and it seems like there was someone different, that her name's no longer there.
Okay. Might be,
I mean,
might
is
be
there a
good to
reason
go up
why-
and visit them and introduce ourselves.
Yeah, it'd be nice to have one of them do it, but there's
Yeah.
not a reason why we couldn't post,
No,
or
we
we
could do
couldn't
it.
present it ourselves.
We were going to do it, we just invited her down.
Okay.
To
'Cause she
be a
did-
part of it.
Yeah, she did the whole thing, I
Yeah.
remember, yeah.
All right, well, do we want to try to pick a date, or?
Probably a
Wait.
little early for that, I think.
Wait for
Let's get our
Cheryl.
hands and find out what the situation is there
Okay.
first.
All
Find
right.
out what our access is with them, or if they can do it, or then we can probably look to a date.
Okay, all right.
Because then we'd have to look at the list of people we want to invite, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then I say knock on the door, calling people or send a flyer, maybe just send a flyer, but also knock on the door to invite them personally. I think it'll yield a better outcome, make it more personal.
I sent a letter too last time that we did it to each of the old homeowners to
Yeah.
invite them
Yeah.
too, so I think we could do that again as well. All right, well, we'll move on to the next thing. We were talking about an idea for a Christmas ornament for sale, and you were also a part of that, weren't you, Cheryl? I mean, Nina? I know
Yeah.
Cheryl wanted to do something with it too, but,
Right.
do you guys have any ideas, like the old hotel, or just something that was,
Well,
That's
having seen
representative.
this done a number of places,
you've done this?
it's common. Number one, don't put a date on it.
Don't what?
Don't put a date on it,
No date, okay,
because you're gonna have them around for a while.
all right.
That's a good idea.
Well, but what, and we could though have, not to change the subject, but maybe for our 100th anniversary, we
Well,
might
you
put
could
a
do
date
that.
on that one if we do something for sale for that,
Mhm.
okay?
But don't say Christmas blah blah,
Mm-hmm,
because it's dated and it's no good, and then you're stuck with boxes of it.
yeah, gotcha, okay, all right. Any idea for what we might want to create? Or anything that was an icon around here?
Where are you gonna sell it?
Good idea. We don't know.
I thought they were gonna sell it at the Welcome Center.
It could be there.
That's what they talked about.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's what we talked about last time, it seems like.
Right, but it would be
But, I mean,
more
this-
than just that.
The storefronts
Mhm.
that would be willing to do it could probably do it as well, like Renee down at Rustic Gypsy. Some of the stores that you get people coming into, you know, in town, the area and whatnot.
Mm-hmm,
Um,
okay.
I don't know, are you gonna have that much foot traffic at the Welcome Center?
Yeah, I know. I mean, until we get it going. I mean, it's still so early with that. So maybe better in the little stores and whatnot that we could get to do it. They're privately owned.
Well, a lot of time when visitors come to town, they come to City Hall, so, I mean, to see what's
Right,
available
here
for
would
a
be a good spot.
brochure or
Yeah.
something like that, so maybe we could do that too. So, places would be here, the Bills, the local stores, City Hall, okay. I think that'd be great to have one for the 100th anniversary anyway, so.
Mhm.
But an old hotel or a wooden one that was carved out, or just a flat? Yeah, I think it'd be
Yeah,
fun
I mean, I
dimensional
think we
if
could
we
look at a
can.
couple of options and look at cost, you know, and what's our goal for the cost, and then that'll kind of drill down what you really wanna do. I don't know, I don't even have any idea what some of that stuff would cost to do. Like you say, if it's something carved out versus a simple globe, you know,
Mhm,
I don't know.
all right.
When you become Scrooge like me, when you don't have nobody at your house for Christmas, you need to do a tree.
We did a pencil tree, tiny little tree, well, it's tall, but it's tiny.
Yeah.
But, okay, well, those are, okay, good
There's all kinds of
items.
fun things you can do with stuff like that. I've done a variety of things with ornaments. I mean, believe it or not, the kids were going to Sandalwood there in Jacksonville, and I went to Dollar Tree and bought these gorgeous white pearl-looking big ornaments wrapped in gold netting. Very beautiful. I mean, they're like this big around in a box, and put a big S on it for Sandalwood in bubble paint
Hmm.
and in gold, and let the kids take it to the teachers at school. So they were very pretty, very simple to do, very inexpensive. I've also done, this sounds really funny. When I worked at the hospital during the holidays, we did 22 days of Christmas, and there was a staff of 50 or more people, right? So you pick a date, and you have to bring 50 small gifts that each person takes one of. And then the next day is somebody else's turn, and next turn, whatever.
Goodness.
So you walk away with 50 little whatevers. So I decided to do what they call dough ornament, you know, where you make it out of flour and water, and they're real hard and they bake. So I thought I was making gingerbread men, but they blew up, their bellies blew up, and their bodies looked wrinkled. So they looked like Santa Clauses in brown or a light tan color. So I wound up painting every one of them to look like a Santa Claus. And so what was cool about it was, and you shellac them, and they last forever. I mean, they're really in good shape. Anyway, I painted them all to look like Santa, and they were absolutely the favorite, hand down. I can't believe I made them. But it was actually a mistake, you know. Well, it was fun, you know. I mean, these are things that, I don't know if we could do something like that, because it's not going to cost a lot of money, but how cute would it be to make a key, the shape of the city emblem, you know. It's just the shape and
Mhm.
doing the colors. but it doesn't necessarily, it could have a little, maybe writing with Keystone on the bottom, but, I mean, that's something I think about as crafting
Mhm.
kind of thing, doesn't cost a lot of money, you know. But, so there's a lot of things, I think you gotta figure out your budget first for plan, and then execute on that based on what
I
our
just-
options are.
Don't know who does wood ornaments, that's what I need to find out. I've seen them though,
There's
real light
Plenty of
balsa.
companies that do laser cutting, that's what that is.
Yeah,
Okay, laser cutting, okay, thanks, Rob.
yeah. I mean, I'm sure that, I just don't know anyone personally, so.
Mhm.
Just go over here to the sign shop, I'm sure they know.
Sign shop, yeah, good place to start, right?
Oh, okay,
If I can interject, we
Sure.
have an ornament from the city of Elgin, Illinois, that they sold. You might wanna contact Roche or somebody up there just to find out who did
mhm.
work for them.
That was their clock, I think, their
They
old
just
clock, or,
the old
I think,
clock out,
I brought that in to one of the meetings to show, but it's real lightweight and,
made out of balsa wood.
yeah. All right, well, that's something I think we'll have to come back to. I'll see what I can find out, though. I'll try to find a laser cutting company, and I'll start down there and ask, you know, where, if he can't help us, and where we could go. It'd be nice to give local business, you know, the opportunity.
Signs by Summer. She's working out of her house now.
Oh, she did, she moved out of that place down
Yeah.
there, really?
She
Oh.
was down there.
Oh.
She's moved.
She's doing, okay.
Does she do laser
She's
cutting?
real sweet.
I don't know, she worked in Gainesville for a sign company for
Does
She
she-
might know
years.
somebody too.
Is it SUMMER or SOM? Summer, real
Summer.
summer? Uh-huh, okay,
Signs by Summer.
okay. All right, thank you, Helen. All right, for our new business, the house walking tour, we're going to have, Ms. Owen wanted to have a tour, and then you wanted to have a special thing for your place, didn't you? You were planning to do something, I thought.
Well, I felt like a Christmas tour would be kind of fun.
Okay.
Pick about 3 houses in town that'd be willing to participate. That's not just a walking tour, but a physical tour.
Oh, the
Inside.
main,
Inside.
the bottom floor only, or what?
Yes, probably the downstairs, and it depends on who the individuals are, but, to me, my property, it's beautiful, but it's really, you don't get all of it till you get up there.
Mhm.
So, I mean, on the walking tour, we'd be willing for people to get up there and walk around, which is not something the Sloan's allowed. So, and that, we could do that via golf cart, we have 2 different golf carts, I mean, there's all kinds of things we could do, it's 3 acres, so.
That could almost be an event, Nina, at one place.
Well, you know, the whole thing about the inside to me is, it, you know, can talk to the history of, I mean, really, because I have 2 rooms really now that share the city, essentially. There's pieces in there that really are related to City of Keystone.
Mhm.
So, I don't know, I felt like it'd be kind of fun, just like we did Parade of Homes, well, not Parade of Homes, but the Symphony Showcase Home, I've done that a few times in Jacksonville, where they have the different designers do a different room of a house, but I participate as a volunteer, you probably have heard of this stuff, Helen. But also the Riverside, the historic Riverside Tour of Homes during the holidays, also San Marco in Jacksonville. I've attended those a ton of times. And typically what they would do is we would get people to kind of, you know, the area where we're gonna have it toured at usually is relatively close walking distance. And then we did like the little lit bags that go along the sidewalk, you know, that are just a white paper bag with sand and a little ball tube in it. That show people to see the path to that house.
Mhm.
And then whoever is, whose home it is, there's probably 5 or 6 volunteers per home. And including owners, you know, as well. So, you know, people pay to attend, to do it. And then we can donate that money to whatever we decide to do. But, that person can share the history of that particular house. And we do have a couple of them, you know, that I think maybe might be good options.
They
But,
do that in Melrose.
yeah,
They have a huge turnout
They
in
do?
Melrose.
really. Is it a Christmas one they do?
Christmas.
Oh, cool. I need to make sure I go to that. That'd be cool. That'd be fun. Yeah, so it raises money.
So
and-
your house, you would be one, or
Yeah.
are you saying, okay. Any ideas for any other houses that you guys think we could?
Rosemary might be willing.
Deirdre might be willing too, because didn't she have number 2, Deirdre's house? Deirdre
She has
Murphy's?
one of the first homes built on.
I think
that
hers
way.
is number 2, I think. She's on Magnolia there. I mean, we look it up on the little magazine thing in there.
Would
but
you
the
talk to
Bergen home-
Deirdre about that?
Yeah, I can ask her about it.
Okay, because I know you guys are,
She's in the Bergen
Buddies.
home, is what it's called, I think. be
And the
your,
house next door.
There are 3 houses right there. Those 3 homes were built at
that
the
was
same
plaqued as
time.
well.
and they're, yeah, so if they're plaqued already too, it'd be
So you
good.
got 3 homes right in the same neighborhood.
Right in the same area, right. And we have those new folks that got plaqued, what, a year ago, that are off of Lakeview, back in that area over there.
Mhm.
So I don't know, I think we just have to figure out our first effort and targeted, and just kind of, and I can also look into, you know, some of the other ones that we attended and kind of what they did to kind of promote it,
Mhm.
you know what I'm saying? I don't know. But yeah, I mean, that's a great idea, Helen, the one in Melrose. Did they do it in December as well? Okay, I don't know how I missed that last year. Well, I was recovering anyway, so I couldn't have gone.
This past year.
Huh?
I don't think they did it this past year.
Well, so that's what they do in Jacksonville, it's every other year. So,
But I mean, because of COVID.
right, yeah. Well, they still, even there, they only did it every other year on the Riverside and San Marco, so.
If I remember correctly, I think Cheryl was talking about a tour, like a self-guided tour or a tour for
She-
information for stuff at the Welcome Center.
Right.
So I kind of
That was,
put
yeah,
that together.
right,
So, but would you chair this, and then I'll certainly help you and
with, what, the
with the
walking-
tour when we do it
You mean the inside tour? Sure.
at Christmas. Do you
Oh,
want to
yeah.
do it this Christmas?
I don't know if it, I think we have to kind of see if it's too soon, you know what I'm saying? I don't know, we'd have to check. First, maybe what I can do is look at potential homes that I think might be a target, and then let's reach out to those individuals. We gotta make sure they'd wanna do it. You know, some people don't want you in their house, I don't know.
Especially at night.
Well, it's totally, someone's in the room the whole time. I mean, there's somebody in every single room that you let somebody come through.
I've never been to a night tour.
Oh, they're really fun. Well, and plus they gotta have their house decorated, obviously, you
Yeah.
know. So,
Okay.
and it's
now.
either they decorate it or we can help them decorate it, you know, kind of thing.
Well, so you have yours, and Deidre would probably do it.
Deidre
We
would probably
just-
do it.
Just need one more, but.
Yeah, we need at least 3. I mean, ideally it'd be nice to have 4 or 5, but,
I mean, I'll ask Rosemary, I think she would be open to it.
That'd be an ideal, small
Mhm.
school.
yeah, and I mean,
It's nice.
it's, and I think, you know, we're probably gonna have the Christmas parade again this year. We'd had it last year.
Mhm.
We're having,
Yeah. So, I mean, I think the city just rolls out big time with Christmas, which is so special.
Mhm.
And we're gonna have probably the new stuff along the street that, as Lynn is working on getting all that ordered. So I think it might be a good year to try
Okay.
it. And maybe we try it just for 3 homes this year and see how it goes.
Okay. Helen, you'll contact Rosemary? Okay, thank
I'll
you.
follow up with Deirdre and
Get
find
back
out.
to us next meeting. Okay. Thank you.
The Christmas parade will probably occur, I know, July 4th. Qantas does both of them, so if you want to double check the date of the Christmas parade, that might be the date of your wall.
Yeah,
Mm.
kinda like the same weekend,
It's always like the second or, I think like the second Saturday.
like the 10th or something.
Yeah, it's always.
Around the 10th or so.
the parade's always been the second Saturday.
Second
Right,
Christmas.
second Saturday
Christmas
of
parade.
December, right.
Steve, can you find that out at your next
Find out.
Kiwanis meeting?
I can
Okay.
confirm.
But we think it's the second Sunday?
I think it is.
Okay. Okay. Let's see. Anything else on the house walking tour? Okay. We had, I have a couple of additions, sorry, to the new business. We won't be voting on it, but we'll talk about elections in just a minute. But landscape ideas for the downtown area, for plantings and flowers or trees, whatever. Are we consider flowers too, or is it just trees?
I'll address that when I make my comments.
Okay. Do you want to talk about that now, or
And I got a few things to talk about as well as
okay?
on.
Are you going to talk about the building? All right, Mr. Hart, would you like the floor, please?
Steve Hart, 155 Northwest Berea in the city of Keystone Heights. I'm here in my capacity as the liaison from the city council. First of all, I'd like to thank you guys for your work on the font. We did approve that unanimously. No debate, no nothing. It's great, so thank you. Thank you. Couple of things. First of all, I went back to the initial resolution that was passed, and the initial ordinance was passed when this organization, this commission was created in 2007 to see what the scope of what you could be doing and should be doing. And this is going to tie in just a second. But if you look at item number 15 of the resolution, and I'll just read it, it's short.
Okay.
The preamble is, this is what you shall do. Number 15, to recommend to the city council the adoption of an appropriate system of historically and architecturally compatible streetscape elements, comma, including, comma, but not limited to landscaping, comma, signage, and then there are other things. The reason I bring that to your attention is the city council took a walking tour, a workshop tour, a couple of days ago downtown to talk about what kind of plantings should go along Lawrence Boulevard with the new streetscape. The state has the final say in this, but as I understand it, the city will have some input as to what can go into the ground. The overall idea is any plantings are going to be in planters. They're not going to be dug in the ground, but there will be grass that will be put down, and considerations, of course, are maintenance and so on. But the thought that I had was, and I talked to Lynn about this, and she's in total agreement, is if you guys can make some recommendations as to what you think would look good and be appropriate as far as the 1920s to try to keep the downtown motif historic. And I know plants are plants, but they do change and varieties change, and there are, I'm sure, some legacy plants that might have been very popular back in the 1920s that were planted along Lawrence. So that's a request, if maybe you could come up with some recommendations. And I think you could just give those directly to Lynn. I don't think you need to bring them to a city council meeting. That was the gist of our walk the other day. The second thing that I have is when we were on our walk, we noticed the old carpet building and stood right across the street from it. And there's no definite plan for the city to do anything about it. It's private property, but we do know who owns it. We do know what they paid for it, and so on. It's public record. And back in Elgin, when I was on the Heritage Commission up there, the historic districts had what was known as a great unveiling. Rob, maybe you're familiar with these already. Basically, the Heritage Commission and the historic district would get together. They would select a piece of property, be it a residence or a commercial property, and they would engineer with the property owner's permission a day when a swarm of people would show up, plus a contractor, and in case of a building like this, a bucket truck, and basically rip off that facade, because that facade's falling apart and it looks ugly. The little bit we can see that the stucco is still behind it. We have no idea what the stucco would look like. But the city council could explore the possibility of getting a grant, much like the old facade grant that we had a few years ago. To do that, it would be up to the property owner to apply for the grant, and then if there was work to be done, maybe use the grant money for that. But possibility, and I'm just throwing this out. You can't vote on it tonight because it's not on your agenda, but at least to think about it. Same thing with the plantings. The third thing has to do with the sign or signage, and it is within the scope of your duties to make recommendations to the city council regarding the signage. I'm thinking of the signage from the hotel. There was an interior sign for the dining room. Is that correct, Nina?
I have a picture of it.
And then I've seen it. It's really nice. It's colorful. And then there was an outside sign. Both were neon.
Right.
And what you might want to consider doing is thinking about making a recommendation to the city council about finding some money to redo those. Now, the interior might fit somewhere. And that's something you have to explore, perhaps in the pavilion. The outside sign, that could perhaps be down at the beach, or it could be at the park across the street. And I'm thinking both of those would be nice to be able to unveil during the centennial event. The hotel opened up on, I think it was New Year's Eve, either 1924 or 1925, but in any event, it was so in close proximity to the anniversary of the city. might be kind of cool to have that be part of the
Mhm.
centennial event. The last thing that I have, and this is the commemorative Christmas ornament. Here again, just my personal input, if you would want to date them 1925 and start pre-selling them in conjunction with the centennial, and with the thought that at some point people will view them as a collector item, have a limited number, like 100, number them, and then pre-sell them. And here again, if you want to have a motif, some likeness of the hotel itself, because the hotel was around Christmas time dedicated. Just my personal thoughts on that. And that is all I have. Thank you.
And what do you, Mr. Hart, think also about the pavilion? Because that's where they had their music, they had the dancing, the party, the celebration part, you know, for the holidays.
Yeah, the
So-
outside sign, you could put up, I don't know structurally how you would do it, but you could have it outside and wired in, and I think it would be nice, since the pavilion was built for people in the hotel to have something to do. They were, and done by the same company, that might be a good location, or have it across the street in the vicinity where the hotel was. But I think it would get more exposure and more protection if it were fenced in down at the beach, if you decided to do that.
Hmm.
As far as the ornaments, you do have a budget. Perhaps the Heritage Commission could pop for the design work and maybe for the first few, but then have subscriptions and have people buy them at a slight profit. It would gin up some interest in the centennial.
Mhm.
It'd be a kind of a good segue into that. Yeah, go ahead.
So the plants, they're gonna, the landscaping, they're gonna be in planters and not in the ground, is that correct?
It's going to be in planters, and that's, the state requires that.
Okay.
And that's probably a good thing. So you're going to have to, look at the root structure. You're obviously not going to plant a live oak or anything like that down there, but, and there also are height restrictions.
Oh.
The general consensus of the council was plantings should be native. They should be not maintenance free, but at least, once they're established, not requiring a lot of work, because the city staff will have to do that,
Right.
watering and fertilizing and doing, unless, for example, the garden club will be taken up. I don't know.
That would be a great idea.
But right now, we're just looking for ideas.
Maybe it'd be a good idea to get one of the garden club folks come and talk with us, because they know locally what grows the best anyway. So
Well-
have some input on that.
You mentioned Deirdre.
She's now the chairman or co-chairman. She's something with
She's
the
been
club.
involved in the garden club forever.
Yeah, right.
Right, and so she might be a good liaison person to see. Now, a few years ago, I think the garden club undertook maintenance of some plantings we did, and it just didn't get done.
Right.
But perhaps the garden club might be interested in making some recommendations and maybe.
I mean, I would think they may know better than most
Yeah.
of us, I would think.
Yeah,
Nina, would you want to talk to Deirdre about that?
Yeah, I can ask her about that.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So,
and that's just informal, and then you can let Lynn know what you guys come up with, or you can come make a presentation to city council. If you're gonna do that, I'll make sure it gets on the agenda.
and
We-
maybe she, I mean,
She could
between
come to
her
the
and
council.
the other gal, I can't think of her name now, because they both came to the house and they did the yard of the month thing. Some photos of what those plants look like that they would
Mhm.
recommend, potentially, right, so we could see,
Right.
which would be kind of good.
You might want to ask her if she would present to council with a,
Yeah.
yes, okay.
There are legacy plant societies. I don't know anything about them. I've heard about them where this is what they specialize in, so you might just want to Google that too and see what was appropriate in north central Florida in
Mhm.
1920. What were they doing?
Sand.
Hmm?
Sand,
Look at the
Sand and
photographs.
dirt, yeah. Yeah.
palms, probably, I don't know.
Sandspurs.
Sandspurs.
Well, I mean, I know what you mean about low maintenance. So, the whole front hillside of our property, which is close to 700 feet, it's huge. That's all getting leveled. That meets to the road. And then you have the shrub level, and then you see the house.
Yeah, nice.
So we're gonna level all of that and put Japanese jasmine. That's about a low-grown shrub about
Yeah,
this
they're-
tall. And
Yeah,
it,
they
and
grow
it
real well
spreads,
spread.
and it's on a hill, so it looks a little more manicured. I don't necessarily want perfectly manicured, but I want it to be manicured, because I don't like it to look trashy
That's a,
looking.
that's a good point. We put in 1,600
You did.
over our drain field.
I'll have to ask you where you bought it. Rob, I need to ask you where you bought it, because we're getting ready to buy
I
it.
got a friend who's in the wholesale business.
Oh, perfect, okay.
Nice.
Definitely get with him,
So
because we got a
your
yard
friend-
guy already lined up to
Let-
start
So
the
we have
project.
that bond for us.
Let Lynn know about that, maybe, because I think
Because
the
it's
state,
real pretty.
state's just gonna give us the money, I think, is the way it's gonna work, and then we're gonna
Oh.
actually do the work. I think that's the way it's gonna work.
Rob, would you get with your friend and see if he can do that for us?
So.
Oh, he would. He's in the business.
Yeah.
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 I'm paying them.
That's a good one to know.
But, and get with, go straight to Lynn with that information?
I would, as far as ground cover, I was mentioning, is it pronounced Bahia or Bahia?
Bahia.
Bahia, thank you. And I was recommending the Argentine because the stalks are less and they're less hard on the mower. They're a little bit out of the area here, but I've got some growing in our front yard we're trying to, and it seems to be doing all right. That's all I have. Anything?
So the building down, I should know that, the carpet store, does Paul own that?
It's a family
Family.
LLC. They're registered with the state. There's a family out of Ocala.
Was it Pearson?
Pierce?
Pierce. Pierce.
It's a Pierce
LLC.
Family
LLC.
Properties LLC
Yeah.
or something like that. So that, they could be contacted, and why would they say no?
Yeah.
You know, especially if a grant is gonna fix up the property and make it probably worth twice what it is now.
It's like a gift.
It is, it is. And that's how you sell it to the property owner, saying, hey, you know, whatever we find back there, that's their responsibility, but they're gonna have to find out that if there's a structural problem anyway, if they're ever gonna sell it.
Just a general question about the pavilion. What's the rental status of it?
The rental, city council has approved a, rental schedule. The city council has also, I think we've given second reading to allowing alcohol sales within the pavilion for, and they would have to, whoever is gonna rent it would have to fill out a form, make that request. There's going to be a $300 penalty if anybody walks out of the pavilion or off of the decking with a red cup, they forfeit $300. And the person who signs the application for whatever family reunion or whatever it is, they are personally liable. So there will be very restricted alcohol sales, not by us, but by them, and in fact, they wouldn't even have sales, it would just be for their private use. And it's gonna be opened up, there are plans to rehab the bathrooms down there. I think that's out on the bidding stage right now. But to new fixtures, that the kids can't rip off the wall. So it's when it's all done, it's gonna be a Class A deal, and in fact, it is already,
Yeah.
as you know, you've been in there. So, but it's gonna be rented out. The only time we can't rent it out is if there's an emergency and, Lamb needs that, or FEMA needs that for food distribution, like hurricane or whatever. Otherwise, it's gonna be a community center, and a rental property for family reunions and such like that. Okay. But Lynn would have a schedule, I don't remember the numbers.
You're gonna require a $1 million insurance inclusion on their homeowner's insurance?
I don't know if it'd be on the homeowners, but if it's an
You
organization like.
can get it on your homeowners.
Yeah, you can get an endorsement, and the city would have to be named as a party.
It's,
Yep.
co-recipient, yep.
Yeah, and, same thing would hold true, like if the Kiwanis Club wanted to put on something. Now, most organizations like that already have insurance. You just get a rider,
Right.
specifically naming the city.
Yeah, it's very inexpensive.
It's very easy, at least in the Kiwanis case.
Do
It's
you
free.
require a one-day liquor license?
I don't know if the liquor license would be required if it's a private property, a private party, and nothing's being sold, if they just bring their own. I don't think you need a liquor.
No,
license.
unless, no, you only need if you're selling.
Yeah, they would need permission from us, and it's still up for debate whether or not, if somebody applies and wants to have liquor, if that's gonna be a council decision, or if we're gonna just handle that administratively. Just to get it started, I would rather see the council pass on these initially, and then down the road, if things are going smoothly, then just leave it up to staff to approve or disapprove.
Yeah, I wonder how they did the RV pavilion the other night, because they served liquor at that event. I mean, you actually, I mean, they gave us tickets and we got the
Right.
liquor drink there.
Well,
So at the RV thing that we went to for the city, League of Cities.
right, yeah, the League of Cities, they've got a liquor license anyway, they've got a bar on the inside, it's all the same company. That's probably,
yeah, I just-
probably extends to their grounds, I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, if they catered it, then they're covered by their license.
Well, I
Yeah.
mean, Cedar, I mean, the seafood place is the one who catered the food. I don't know who did the alcohol. He supported that.
That's probably, they probably did that right through the restaurant's liquor license, would be my
Maybe.
guess, but I don't know.
Because it was full
But they're out
of
of the city, so it doesn't matter.
Okay.
Yeah. Anything else? Thanks for your
No.
time.
Thank you, Mr. Hart. And our last item is, it's election time again, so I'm just wondering, would anybody like to step up into either the chair or the non-chair, the co-chair? Nina's the co-chair, I'm the chair. Are you willing to stay in that, Nina?
Yeah, I can stay in
I move that we keep what we have.
You do?
Do a good job. Yeah.
Aren't you getting tired of us?
No.
I think Rob would make a nice
I don't live in the city
chairperson.
limits.
Don't need to be. Change the ordinance. Gotcha.
I live in a different county.
Yeah. Well, we're glad to see you. We've missed you, throughout the COVID. We didn't meet all through it, but we've had a couple meetings, but we're glad to see you
Rob
back.
Bradley and I had a discussion on that when this thing was being drawn up,
Mhm.
and he wanted to make it just city residents, and I didn't, because I knew that you could have trouble
Small
finding
pool.
enough people. So
Mhm.
Yeah.
there was not a requirement. Planning and zoning, there is a requirement that you be a resident, not this commission.
Well, if there's no opposition, we do have a quorum that Nina would be the co-chair, and I would continue to be the chair for one more year. If we could vote on it, well,
Sure.
all in favor?
All right.
All right, me too.
Second.
Yep. No opposing, nobody else. All right, well, thank you, guys. Appreciate it, and meeting is adjourned.
So can,
Miss Nina.